So I've been working on the combustion chamber thing for the jet, and I couldn't find any tube the right size. So I had a friend roll it out of stainless. So it's 2.5 mm thick, so it's quite thick, and he's rolled it on a rolling mill, and the ends are pretty close, but I'm going to need to use a ratchet strap or some kind of like a chain clamp to squeeze it together, then I can weld along the back. As for the middle bit, he rolled a smaller bit for the flame tube, so the same thing needs to be done to that, so I need to squeeze it together and roll it. As for the size, this is 100 mm diameter, and this is 140, I think. I added a bit of extra space because of the thickness of the walls, and it's 330 mm tall. So that's going to be fiddly. I might make something with a bit of motorbike chain to help tighten that up. I mean, it should be. I mean, the other problem is there's a flat bit here and here, just a little bit. I might close it up and tack it, and then take it back to the machine shop and get them to roll it again to make it properly round. But we'll clamp it up and see how we get on. Put some ratchet straps on it. I'm sure we'll be alright. So I've made this little jig to hold the tube in alignment. So I've got a big piece of threaded rod which goes through the table, and then I've just tightened it up here, and that's about the best I can make it. It's reasonably well aligned. I'm just going to tack it here, and then I might grind the tack down and then roll it again to get it perfectly round. We'll see how we get on, but it's obviously still out the other end. I need to tack this end and turn it over and do the other end. Right, I've tacked that end. There it is. I've turned the tube over, and I have held it with this little tiny bench vise thing. So I'm just going to tack it here, and then I should be able to peel the film off and just run all the way down the back, and I should have a tube then. So I've peeled the protective stuff off, and it seems we've got brushed stainless. It must be some kind of catering grade, I don't really know. I think it's whatever they had in the rack. But that's the weld up the back. So we now have a tube. It's a bit funny at the top, you might not be able to see that. Not sure what to do about that. I think when we make the disc to go on here, I think all it will be is there's just a little bit more weld on that bit. It's going to be a bit dodgy, but it will cover it. It doesn't have to be too perfect, and I did manage to get the end to line up reasonably well. So the next bit is to make all the hardware that goes on the end, and obviously do the inner tube, the flame tube. That's going to be interesting. So a bit more work on the combustion chamber. I chose in the end to laser cut the ends. Just thought it was neater. This is 4mm thick stainless. It's quite thick, so rather than weld the nuts on to create the cap that screws in with the bolts, these are laser cut to the tapping size, M5 tapping size. So I'll just run a tap through those and put a thread in them, and then the end plate, which is that, the hole in the middle is for the fuel, will just screw on like that. So this entire assembly will weld to the end of the combustion chamber. So the first job that we can weld this on is to tap the holes, and to do that I'm going to use the pillar drill. It's an interesting little technique, but it does work. So this is a neat little trick that someone showed me once for tapping holes and getting them square. Use a pillar drill. So I've got a M5 taper tap in the chuck. I've got the drill set to its highest speed, which is 3030 RPM. I've done one already. I'm just going to grease the tap up like that. And what you do is you turn the drill on so it's spinning at full speed, then turn it off, and as the drill is slowing down, just as it starts to slow down, you lower it into the hole. And it just helps to, you have to finish the hole off by hand, but it just helps to get the thread started straight. So the tap has come out the other side, so it's gone through, well, it is a taper, but it's gone in a good 2 or 3 full threads. So now we just finish it off by hand by just turning the chuck round. I've welded this ring on around the top, so it's still kind of hot, but that's going to go on the end. So I'm just going to get the nuts and bolts. Bolted the top on with all the screws, and it's looking pretty good. The weld is reasonably neat. It's a bit ugly in some places. I've only just got this weld, and I'm just getting used to using it. It's different to my old one, but yeah, still quite hot, but it's looking good.